What's going on, Mr. Johnson? How are you?
Good, man.
Good, good. Awesome, awesome. Well, congratulations on the new special. So, super excited and it was super awesome. So, thank you for that. And I hope you are
Thank you.
proud.
No, yeah, I'm definitely excited.
Awesome, awesome. So, just want to kick it off. My first question for you is why the title Up Here Killing Myself?
It's sort of a play on words and everything because I think that I obviously think everything that I'm saying is funny, but it also like harkens to a time that
Yeah,
I wasn't really doing well, and um, I think that people will see that watching it and everything, and I think that there's a lot of value in having a title that has a bit of a ear catching phrase to it.
of course, of course. And, the background, being at your therapist office, where did that idea come from and how did that come about?
Um, you know, it was something I reached out to the director about, Jacob Menacci. I talked to him early on about the special and about my intentions, what I wanted to do with it, and we felt that having the interstitials conveyed the theme the clearest and was the best way for an audience to understand what was going on and not have too much or too little and everything. Like we do it just enough that you don't forget about it, but we do it little enough that it still feels like a comedy special. And it starts off with whether it's the premise or a question being asked in the therapy session and then ends on stage, because that's kind of the trajectory of the joke. That's how I ended up feeling. Was I didn't start out knowing how I felt about something, and then by the time you see me later, I'm ready to share it, and I do know how I feel about it, and I'm offering it up for laughter.
Oh, definitely understand. So great, definitely Black man speaking about mental health and having this space. I want to know, when did you start going to therapy and what inspired that?
Um, I've gone to therapy off and on from like actually a young age. When I was pretty young, my mom had me go,
Okay.
and I was blessed to be in a family that really understood and appreciated what therapy could be. And so this
Yeah,
is like, the 90s when it was like not as
not a thing.
kosher to talk about and everything. And
Right.
so I went then, and I think that it's definitely a process, both in general when you're looking for someone, and a process in life to be with someone who's the right person for you. Obviously, through the pandemic and everything, we've been introduced to the idea of online therapy and talking to someone even though you're not in the room with them and everything, which I think definitely has its value. But I think that overall it's been a process every time I've moved or when I've been in a different place in life to go to, the right person.
Yeah. What well, I guess I'll ask this real quick. What advice do you have for I guess specifically Black men or just anybody in general when they are looking for a therapist? Kind of advice that you kind of have when it's like searching type of, maybe not necessarily criteria, but kind of questions that you ask yourself when trying to pick the perfect therapist.
Yeah, I mean, do you feel comfortable with them? Like, is that someone that you find you can really speak to? And that
Mhm.
comfort, is that comfort coming from you not being comfortable in general or you not being comfortable around them? Do you enjoy their approach? Because it's almost like dating to a certain degree, where just because you go to someone doesn't mean you have to stick with that person
Right.
for the rest of time. Like sometimes a therapist's sensibilities aren't a fit for you, or sometimes you just all by yourself don't necessarily, whether it's a vibe or whatever, you don't feel comfortable talking to this person. It doesn't mean therapy's not for you, and it doesn't mean there's not therapists out there for you. So I think that asking yourself if you feel comfortable with them is one main thing. And I'd also say to like remember that even if you feel some type of way, remembering that it's a private thing. Like no, like I'm not saying anyone should be ashamed. I'm definitely not ashamed of the times that I've been to therapy and everything, or talking to someone or seeking help. But you don't have to broadcast it out there if you don't want to. It's just as private as any other type of doctor, and you're getting taken care of for something that's just as important as if you broke your leg.
Right. 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 So how has your experience working, kind of with Daily Show and Jimmy Fallon, The Tonight Show? How has that prepared you for this moment?
I think that, working at Tonight Show taught me not to be precious about every single joke.
Hmm.
So now I think that I'm a bit more ruthless with myself when it comes to what jokes I keep, what jokes I cut, how I write jokes to begin with. Sometimes even when I'm starting something, I can tell it's not going to go anywhere, and
Yeah.
I can leave it alone and move on to something that really could bear fruit and really has weight and is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
And I think that came from working at Tonight Show, where you're writing so many jokes a day, but only so many jokes are going to get told on air.
Yeah.
And so not being precious. And then I think that from Daily Show, I've really learned how to tell stories and how to make stories compelling for people who won't necessarily experience them or don't even know why they have to care about them, and letting people know the importance of things that they're just finding out about, because that's essentially what, a lot of a person's stand up is sometimes. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, you may not know me, you may not know this story about me, but I'm going to try to make it all important to you in real time,
Yeah.
get you invested and get you to care, then make you laugh,
Yeah.
all the while along.
Of course. Are you afraid of cancel culture? Now, again, your um special is, very internal, talks about you, what you're going through and things like that. But just from a comedy and the atmosphere that we are now, are you afraid of kind of that threat of cancel culture? And do you kind of skew kind of your jokes to be careful?
No, I'm not really afraid. I don't know if there's anything to be afraid of. I think there's always going to be people that are going to willfully misunderstand you, but I think that as long as you took all of the time, care, and attention that you needed to be understood as best as possible, like I'm phrasing this in the way I am, and I'm not going to get tripped up along the way by anybody's misinterpretation, then
Right.
you've done everything that you can. I don't know if it's not productive and it's not healthy to sort of live in some constant fear of a boogeyman that honestly is like not really gonna come for you. It's a tough thing to navigate, because when people talk about cancellation stuff, it's like the only people that get affected by any sort of like cancel culture or whatever are people
Yeah.
who aren't famous. If
Yeah.
you look closely, famous people usually end up better off after they've been through it with cancel culture. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? When they've come in
Yeah.
contact with being canceled, I mean, I'm not saying all the time, I'm not saying
Right.
everybody, but a lot of them
Yeah.
usually end up richer. They usually end up more popular. If people feel like they were done dirty, they get more
Right.
support. It's
Right.
it's really regular people who like said something dumb on Twitter that you don't know that never
Yeah.
recover. Like,
Yeah. What did you say? Bad press is good press?
yeah, I mean, not if you've never had press before. Like that
No, for sure. For
that
sure.
then you're going down. Jeez.
Right.
Some of the things I've watched where I'm like, all right, like clearly they tweeted a dumb thing, but
Yeah.
can we let it go now?
Yeah. Yeah. So I have two just funny questions. My first question is, so how rich are you? Are you eating like three times a day now, four times, or
Look,
you still
not only am I eating 3 times a day, but sometimes it's salmon. All right. We've
Oh, look
really
at
come
that.
up. We're out here now. You know what I mean?
Perfect, perfect. And last one is, do you really know how old you are? Because they were telling you which your birthday is not really letting you know. So I don't know if you know
Oh
how old
yeah,
you
yeah,
really
yeah,
are.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, look, yes, yes, I do. I do. I feel like, yeah, I feel like people are gonna like feel some type of way, because this is the thing, is that at the end of the day is also jokes, So it's like I hope that, I don't know. Everyone all day's been asking me how my family's gonna feel, and I'm like, hey, I'm like, I think they're gonna laugh. Like I'm like they know I'm joking.
Right, right. Perfect, perfect. Well, congratulations again. That's my time. And good luck with everything. It was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Great to talk to you.
Great talk to you as well. Thanks.